Today we're going to be working on where I get my option data from when it comes to being able to validate our strategies, right? And it doesn't matter where you get your strategies from, fam. It doesn't matter if you get your strategies from TradingView, right? Being able to come up here to the indicators and being able to find a strategy here that you can use in backtest. It doesn't matter if you get your strategies from TikTok, right? It doesn't matter if you get your strategies from YouTube. One of the things that we all need to do is being able to validate our strategies, right? So the ideation part of it is easy, but you also want to backtest it. But before we even get to the backtest, you need to understand where to get the data from. So I want to talk about some of the common places you can go to in order to get your option data, and some of the pitfalls and some of the places and some of the things to look out for when it comes to being able to suss this out. So what's happening, everybody? It's your boy Creative. Go ahead, say it with me. We are back at it again to do what? To create something great. Now, I'm not going to hold you. I'm super excited what I have planned for y'all today. So what I want to do is just go ahead and jump right into this, right? So I'm in Cursor, and within Cursor, I've already opened up a terminal. And what I need to do is go ahead and bring in our conda environment. And what this conda environment is, it is like a garage, right? That I keep all of the Python packages that I'm going to need when it comes to being able to create option algo strategies, right? Either by myself or using Claude Code. So as you can see here, we're not in the conda environment because you see base. In order to get into it, I'm going to go ahead and put the conda environment command line. And then now we're in it. So you can see the difference between base and algo, baby. All right, bet. Now we're in our conda environment. So one of the common places most people like to go to, right, is being able to start with Yahoo Finance. So I want to run a couple of terminal commands in order to understand how Yahoo Finance works and what they can offer. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and Python into our conda environment. Then we're going to import Yahoo Finance. Then we're going to see, all right, what is the ticker data that you can give me for the S&P 500, S&P 500, the top 500 companies within the New York Stock Exchange, right? So what we're looking for is the SPY and SPY option chain data for 0DTE, right? So we're looking for the chain calls, the strikes, and strikes is going to be the price that we think that SPY is going to go to. Excuse me, I didn't want to cough in your ear. Then it's going to be the last price that's going to populate, and also implied volatility, right? So let's go ahead and put enter. So as we can see here, here's some of the option chains that are populating with Yahoo Finance. But I want you to see a theme here, right? Because one of the things that I want you to notice is like there's a couple of things that's missing, right? So when I try to get the Greeks, right? So as you can see, because when it comes to options, yes, it's great to being able to have a price-based options based strategy, but you're also going to need Greeks, right? And what are the Greeks? The Greeks are like the engine. The Greeks are like the different tools, the different parts, different features of the option that allows it to go. We're going to have delta, and delta is just going to measure for every $1 change what is going to be the change in the option contract. Gamma is going to be how fast delta is going to move. Theta is going to be how much money you're losing per day or per minute when holding the option contract. And Vega is going to be the sensitivity to interest rates. So I really don't care that much about Vega. The top three are going to be Delta, Gamma, and Theta, right? So when I try to get these from Yahoo Finance, as you can see, I get an error, right? So let's try to pull a few more things and let's see what comes up. What I wanted being able to show y'all now, if I want to pull historic data from Yahoo Finance, being able to go through the different bid and ask, right? So you can see here, this is what we get. And as you can see, still, this is the information that they provide. Not as comprehensive as what we'll like, right? Now let's do the chain history. Again, error, attribute error. There is no history. Right. And one more before we get into the main place where I get the data from. It's just being able to look at the direction of SPY, right? So as you can see here, they do give us quite a bit information, but you got to go through the trees in order to get through the forest. Go through the forest in order to understand the trees, right? If you understand that analogy. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So go through, but whatever. Let's keep going. right? So what I want to talk about now is the place where I do get my option data from, and that is going to be ThetaData, gang. This is not sponsored by ThetaData. This is just a matter of game recognizing game, right? So one thing that I also want to talk about is there's a couple of cool things that ThetaData has done that can enable this to be a lot easier in order to get your option strategies from, right? So as you can see, Theta Data aggregates their data from many different places and it pushes out through Theta Data. So let's just go ahead and look at the pricing, right? So if you're looking at being able to get the value plan, right? And I'm not going to hold you, being able, the value is going to work for most people, right? Like I had to get to standard. I'm not at the pro level, but standard is where I'm at. And it works for me because I have 27 different bots that I'm running sometimes at one time, right? So being able to get real time access is something that's important to me. Being able to get unlimited requests is something that's important to us, right? 8 years of data is what allows us to be able to back test and validate our strategies, right? And there's also API support. This is another great thing, tick by tick support. So we can actually see the order books. We have option chain support and then 50K of trade stream, right? So as you can see here, it's quite comprehensive for what they offer. But another thing I want to talk about is they just dropped a Python library, fam. This what makes it so much easier to run, right? So let's just quickly read this, being able to understand this. So for years, accessing high quality market data through Theta Data meant one of the following, right? Installing and running a local terminal. While powerful, the terminal introduced friction, setup time, and environment dependencies, and the operational overhead that slowed down teams when they just wanted to get the data. We've listened closely to the feedback, and today we're introducing a simpler, faster path, and this is going to be the ThetaData Python library. It eliminates the need for local terminals with a clean, lightweight interface available directly via PIP. Users can now pull institutional grade option and market data straight into their Python workflows in minutes. Whether you're building a new model, backtesting strategies, or powering production systems, the library integrates seamlessly into modern day stacks. No extra infrastructure required, right? So what I want to do is just go ahead and go to py.py. Py.py is going to be a place where you could look at any different any different Python libraries, right? So one thing I want to do is let's just go ahead and type ThetaData, right? So you see that just dropped on the 5th. So I just, on the 7th. I just updated recently, right? So it gives you a quite comprehensive breakdown on how to use it, how to pip install it, right? So let's go ahead and just pip install it in our Algo. What I'm going to do is go ahead and hit exit. Thank you. Clear. Pip install. All right, beautiful. Now that it's pip installed, right? One thing that I had to switch this up with regards to how I did it, right? I made an MCP that enables us to be able to, hold on. Let me run this one terminal command before I talk about this MCP. So 2 seconds. Beautiful. And then yeah, okay. I'll come back to that. Exit. Boom. All right, so what I did is I created an MCP that makes it super easy for Claude Code, any AI agents, or just ourselves, right? When it comes to being able to use ThetaData, right? So this is the MCP file that I made, and how I made it was being able to use FastMCP. If you stuck around here before, I've talked about FastMCP, right? So again, just going to come here, go to FastMCP. So what is FastMCP? A model context protocol, connecting LLM tools and data. FastMCP gives you everything you need to prototype to production. Building an effective MCP application is harder than it looks. FastMCP handles it all. It declares the tools with Python functions, the schema, the validation, and documentation are generated automatically. So that's why I love using FastMCP. Then, of course, we're bringing in ThetaData, right? So this is the MCP file that we created in order for Claude Code to proper use it, right? So MCP, this was created in Python. So as you can see here, is 1,700 lines of code, right? And also created an instruction manual on how to use it and to make Claude's job a lot easier when it comes to being able to work with this. So let's actually see this in action, fam. Let's go ahead and open up a new Claude Code session. Let me go ahead and grab, I'm fine with it. Opus 4.5. All right, using ThetaData. And how do you know the MCP is there? We're going to go to MCP, right? So you see our MCP is right there, ThetaData PY. Bet it's connected. Using ThetaData, MCP, advise what was this past Friday, 05/08/2026, option market like for SPY. Provide a visual and easy to understand explanation. Keep it to 5 to 8 sentences. So now what's going to happen is that hyperspacing, that's funny. You're going to see Claude Code actually call the MCP. So it's going to say calling ThetaData PY. So as soon as it calls it, see, calling ThetaData PY, calling it 2 times in order to get the flow data for Friday, the 8th of 2026. So it's getting the data from ThetaData, and we made this all possible via our MCP, right? So it's going through the Python library, and the Python library is returning it back to our MCP. Then our MCP is giving it to Claude Code, and the Claude Code is going to be able to outline it to us. So here is the breakdown of what Friday's overall market option the market was for options. Right now we had calls for, oh, look at that, it's quite heavy calls, bruv, quite heavy puts. Damn, everybody's super bullish at a 741 level and super bearish at the 737 level. Hourly flow. So in plain English, this is one of the things that I love about Claude Code. Friday SPY options saw nearly 6 million contracts trade, a busy day. Puts slightly outpaced calls. So puts are going to be individuals that are bearish. Excuse me. Yes, are bearish on the market. So they want the market to go down. So these are the sellers. And then you're going to have your calls. These are individuals that are bullish on the market. These are your buyers. They want the market to go up, right? So you can see here about a 9.8 point swing between the buyers and the sellers, right? Giving the market a mild bearish tilt of about 8%. The action clustered around tightly 737 strike where SPY was trading. Bulls aggressively bought calls at 738 and above the notice call magnet, while the bears loaded up on 735 through 736. The peak volume hit 10 a.m. with 1.2 million contracts, typically 0 DTE behavior when the early positioning dominates. By lunchtime, the volume dropped by 47%, then stabilized through the afternoon. So this is one of the things that makes it super, super easy, fam, to be able to get our option data from ThetaData, and this is why I love being able to use it. So on our next video, we're going to actually go through one of our back tests, right, that actually uses ThetaData when it comes to it. So here's just a little sneak peek of the back test that we're going to be going over. So if you haven't already, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe. It's your boy Creative. I'll be back at it again with another episode.